Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about How Much Land Does a Man Need? Written by Leo Tolstoy. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. All right, so this is a very interesting short story. A lot of things happen here. A lot of things happen here. You basically have this older sister visiting this younger sister, and the older sister lives in a town, a more modern place where there's just the theater and businesses and good food. And the younger sister, she lives out in the country with her husband Paham. And whenever you live out in the country, you don't have the latest things. Like it's like living in the countryside and living in the city. If you live in the city, you have all the access to the latest stuff. If you live in the countryside, well, you're probably the last to get all the trendy stuff, right? So that's how this story begins. You have the older sister coming from a town, and the older sister, she lives out in the country with her husband, and what pretty much happens is that there's a conversation that breaks out about stuff and material goods, and things like that. The sister that's from the town, she's all about the material goods and having all the nice stuff. And the younger sister, she's like, there's more to life, and focusing on other things. But her husband is the one that the story focuses on, and his name is Paham. And he's like, the devil wouldn't tempt me, or the devil couldn't tempt me if I had a little bit more land. He had land in the countryside. And so to him, he's like, if I just had just a little tiny bit more, I think I would be good, and the devil couldn't tempt me. And apparently, the devil was there in the room, and the whole story goes into him acquiring a bunch of land and ultimately leading to his death because the devil was tempting him. And well, in this particular case, he ends up dying because he kept on getting tempted and falling into the temptation. So this story really, it's a warning with temptation. That temptation, it will find a way somehow to tempt you, but you kind of have to fight it. Well, you not kinda, you just have to fight it, because Paham, he just runs around like a headless chicken throughout the short story. The devil keeps tempting him, and he keeps buying land, acquiring land. He keeps going on and on and on, buying new land, raising crops, doing business, getting more money, and then buying more land. And he just keeps going on and on and on, until he goes, at the end of the work, he goes into the Bashkers. The Bashkers are these like they're like they have a chief. They have a chief, and they're like kind of like a tribe, and he tries to buy land from them. He gets acquainted with them. They're nice folks. They don't really cultivate the land like he used to, but the Bashkers, they're like, all right. The chief goes, you can have as much land as you can walk in a day. That's the deal. That's the contract. I guess the verbal contract. I guess they agree upon. And he in his mind, in his greed, he's like, I'm gonna walk a bunch of miles, so that I can have lots and lots of land. And then ultimately, what happens is, the chief is like, well, you have to do this all within a day. So once the sun goes down, you forfeit your money. And basically, he's so greedy that he's just trying to run and run and run and run and run and run, and just, get connected, or get as much land as he could, in the Bashkir's land. But ultimately, he exhausts himself because he's running so much. But he doesn't just run out in the straight line. He has to run and then run back, and he gets exhausted, and then ultimately he collapses and dies, and he has no land. Well, I guess he has the land in which he's buried, and that's all the land he'll ever need because he's dead. In terms of deeper meaning analysis, this is like, it feels like a moral story. Leo Tolstoy, that's one of his things, to put moral stories within stories. Um, I mean, you can definitely see the greed here. You can definitely see temptation here. You can definitely see obsession. Um, and to the point, there has to be a point in life where you're content with what you have. There's some people, they just want $1 million, and $1 million is good enough for them. There's some people that just want to be able to, have a nice place to sleep, have food in their belly, and have some money to have some fun with, and not stress over money. But there's some people, it's never enough. 1 million, no. 100 million, no. 10 quintillion, no. Throw in whatever Googleplex, whatever alien you want to throw in there. It's never enough money, because they always want to be more wealthy, more rich. And this is kind of like a warning that, well, you'll die. You'll die one day, and all of your property, everything that's on earth, all the billionaires, all the millionaires, all the trillionaires, everything you have will go back into the pool at some point. You'll die, and somebody else will take over your fortune. It's either it gets divided, to many different types of people, or at some point it just goes right back to, the earth, because, well, we all have an expiration date. Our physical bodies, they don't live forever. And, some people forget that sometimes. Sometimes people get so, enamored and stuck into this mindset of being successful, being rich. They forget that they're mortal. They forget about that. And so, I think, in the beginning, at the beginning it just seemed like this was going to be a story about, just money. But the moral lesson here is that, well, sometimes you just got to look at what's around you and what you have. I mean, this man, he had a wife, he had property, but he just wanted more. He just always wanted more, and so he kept on going until he dropped dead. All right, he kept on going until he dropped dead. So this story does pushes you to reflect and to think about what you have. When is it enough, and when to stop. But because, not everybody knows, when to stop. So it's a very interesting story here. But that's all I had to say about it. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.